Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna show you how I turn this photo into this. Let's get started. So step number one is to bring your photo into Lightroom. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna try and make the car pop a little bit more because there's a lot of detail that's, I guess, lost over here, especially underneath where I can't really see the tires, I can't see much of the car on top of the lights. So I've got this preset that's called Autumn Grey, which I'm gonna apply. But I still have to make a few more changes because after applying this, as you can see a lot more in this garage. I don't really want to be looking at the bin and this bottle on the floor. This photo was taken roughly around midday, so I want to make it look like it was taken at 9 p.m. As you can see from the preset applied, it's changed the color of the taillights to a bit of a pinkish color. I don't really like the look of that. I'm going to change that now, so I'm going to go down to the Hue, Saturation and Luminance tab. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I kind of like it there, so I'm gonna leave that there. Everything else I'm gonna leave the same. Actually, I might increase the saturation and the red a little bit, just so it stands out. I'm gonna take the highlights down a little bit, not the shadows actually. 1 second. I'm gonna keep it at -25. That seems about right. I think I'm going to take down the whites as well a little bit, -30. I might take the shadows up slightly so I get that detail over here. I'll just put that to 15. And the clarity, I'm going to actually bump that up to 20. There we go. Okay, as you can see, this is looking a lot better already. I also like to play with the camera calibration here. The color, I don't know if it's camera calibration or color calibration. So again, I don't want to mess around with the reds too much. I'm going to put that at +10. I usually take the green to the opposite direction if I've gone positive on the red. And with this, I usually just go to the extremes and see which side I prefer. In this case, I prefer the negative side, so I'm going to go to -15. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with what this looks like. As you can see, obviously I've used the Autumn Grey preset, but I've still made some changes after using the preset. So if you guys were to download this, make sure you tweak it slightly so it suits your photo, because not every preset's going to work for every single photo. So now we're going to take this into Photoshop. I'm going to start with taking this plate away because I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Before you do anything, duplicate the layer. So I don't want to affect the layer directly, so I always tend to duplicate it, start working on a new layer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quickly outline the registration plate and I'm going to take it out. I'm going to use the pen tool and I'm going to turn this into a selection. I don't want to have any feathering there. Okay, now that we have a selection made out of this, I'm going to use the patch tool, which you can find here, and I'm just going to drag it across to another bit of area where I can see the paint that's kind of similar to what it would be like underneath the registration plate. So this looks about right. I'm just going to do that. There we go. If you're not able to do that with the car you're kind of, the car you've shot, then use this method. So I use a clone stamp tool next to kind of tidy this bit up, and press Alt and just start brushing this and kind of tidying it up a little bit. Make sure you guys don't rush this process because you have to be kind of precise if you want to make it look legit. I've just gone ahead and clone stamped the whole thing. And as you can see, we've gone from that to that. I'm gonna name this layer no reg, I can't type. There we go. And I'm gonna have another layer. And what I'm gonna do on this is I'm actually gonna brush black all over. So, yep, okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a layer mask to it. I'm just gonna start brushing. I'm gonna lower the opacity down here. I'm gonna start brushing the car out. I guess you could just have a rectangle as well. You don't have to paint it in. Make life a lot easier. Bring a shape, make sure it's black. And then have a layer mask. So you want to have black selected, and what we're going to do is we're going to brush the car out like so. So if I take the opacity back up to 100%, there you can see this bit is still there. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting white on things that I don't need, and then I'm painting black on the things that I actually do need. So I'm gonna change the flow to about 19%. I'm gonna paint on this bit here, floor slightly. So the light's gonna be coming in from the back of the car, so we wanna make sure that we have some sort of light over here. And that looks, I don't know what's going on there. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna add a color balance layer on here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for the shadows, and we're gonna go for a bluer color, because when it's nighttime it's usually blue, when it's daytime it's usually orange. Don't worry if you're affecting the car, we're gonna mask that out in a second as well. We're gonna see the greens over here and kind of bring that down slightly. I'm gonna take this onto the blue side as well. Here, +8. That looks good to me. Again, this has a layer mask applied already, and we're just going to use the black brush to kind of brush the car out from it. But I don't want to brush it out too much, because I still want the car to have some sort of cold tone to it. As you can see, without the color balance, it's quite warm. With the color balance applied, it's starting to get a bit colder. It's starting to feel a bit more like it's nighttime. So now I'm looking at this and I feel like this is a bit too bright, and I need to take that down a little bit. So what I'm gonna do there is I'm simply, again, gonna have a new layer, and I'm gonna brush that black. Also bring in the layer mask, and I'm going to have, so the flow is already selected at 19%, the opacity is at 50. I'm gonna paint this black. There we go. We've still kind of got some reflections in this car. So we've got a Mercedes GLC that we can see there, and there's another car over there, and we've got some reflections going on. I don't know if you can see, but that's me squatting on the floor with my camera. I don't know if you can see that. I can see it. I'm going to go back to the layer that I've been working on, so this layer here, and I'm going to start by using the patch tool, and by selecting areas like so, I'm just going to take away some of this reflection like so. Again, I'm doing this very rough. If you were to edit this, you'd obviously try and make it as neat as you can. Okay, so my camera actually stopped recording halfway through that, but I didn't get too far ahead, so I'm just gonna undo what I did. I added a rectangle, a circle, painted it red around that size there. And I've then gone to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, rasterize, and I've blurred this out completely to give it that, I guess, that glow that comes out of a tail light. And that's exactly what I've done for the bottom left, the bottom right, and the middle. That just gives the car a lot more glow. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna add some flares coming out of here, and I'm gonna go on to Google and just search up red light flare, like that. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention, when you're looking at flares, make sure it's got a black background. So what you can do is change the blending mode to screen or lighten. I'm gonna go for screen over here and add it to this light there. I'm gonna have to fine tune it a little bit. So I'm gonna take the layer mask. Okay, so I don't want this kind of rough edge over here as well, so I'm gonna brush that out a little bit. I'm gonna place another one on the other side over here. Now we're gonna brush these even more. This one's the bottom right, so I'm going to be brushing a bit more on this side here. I like the look of that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take down the opacity slightly on these. So this is the bottom right. I'm going to go down to about, I think, 50%. Okay, so this is starting to look a lot better already. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a light source, and to do that I'm just going to create a circle like so. It doesn't have to be a circle, but I'm just doing a circle over here, and I want the light to kind of come across at an angle from the top. So instead of making the circle round, I'm actually going to do that and have it like that over there. And so I'm going to do the same thing to this as I did with the tail light. So I'm going to go into blur, go into Gaussian blur, rasterize, and we're going to blur this as well, and it's going to look like a light source coming through. Do you know what? I've just called it 911 just because it's a 911. All right, and there you have it. I'm just going to move this right to the top because I want this to be the dominant source of light. So what I've done with the light source, as you can see, is that it's quite stretched out. I didn't want it to be too bright as well. I want it to be kind of subtle, that kind of hints at you that there's a light coming in from above, which is why you can see the car. But yeah, this is what I've done. I've also lowered the opacity to 70%, but I'm pretty happy with what the car looks like at the moment, and I'm gonna take this into Lightroom and do a couple of quick adjustments, and then it's pretty much ready to go. Okay, so there we have it. This is now the image that I've kind of brought into Lightroom, and I've just made a few adjustments over here with the calibration tab. I've just really taken the reds down to -5, the greens to 9, and the blues to -20 to give it this look. You don't necessarily need to bring back the image to Lightroom after that, but it's just my preference. I just like to bring it back and just tweak a few little things. Okay guys, so there we have it. If you enjoyed this video, then please make sure to give it a like. If you learned anything new, then comment down below as well. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I upload a video. But anyway, that's it from me today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Should I do that one more time? Man, I should have been wearing my glasses. I forgot to wear my glasses. I actually kept my glasses right there, but I forgot to wear them. See, now I look more professional. I look more legit. I'm gonna take my glasses off because, you know, continuity and all that.